What's going on, everybody? And welcome back to JohnnyKpicks. And in this video, I'll be going over my full card picks and predictions, along with the bets that I'm looking at so far for UFC Jacksonville, Emmett versus Topuria. First things first, please hit the like button, subscribe if you're new or haven't yet, hit the notifications if you haven't done that as well. And also, please leave some comments below on your favorite picks, on your favorite bets, how you did last week, how you're going to do this week. Anything works for me, helps out my video a lot. Same with the like button, please, and thank you. All right, so yesterday was UFC Vegas 75. Let's jump into that real quick, and I'll tell you how well I did. Pretty decent, hard overall. I end up going for my picks. I went 7-4-1 because of the no contest with the Argueta fight. And for my bets, I ended up winning 5 out of 7 bets, winning plus 1.4 units profit. So another winning night. A lot of my parlay bets were busted because of the fight cancellations and the no contest. I had a bet on that fight too. So the way it was going, I'm glad it was a no contest because I probably would have lost that bet. But like I said, 1.14 units, I'll take it. I think that's 2 weeks in a row right now. So we'll keep the momentum going for this one. And let's just go through the fights really quick. There was 12 of them. So Modestas versus Pauga. Modestas, I'll be honest, this was a very close fight, and he did not win 30-27, but 29-28, I can see. But man, it was very close. And I actually had a single bet on Modestas because one of my parlays was messed up on that one. And I thought I was going to lose that one. So very close fight, though. I don't want to say robbery, but I could totally see it go the other way. But the 30-27 was a wrong call. Then we got the no contest with Ronnie Lawrence and Dan Argueta. I did pick Dan Argueta, and he was looking very good. His wrestling was better than Ronnie's, or at least his offensive wrestling, and Ronnie's defensive wrestling was not great. His jiu-jitsu was very good, and he had him in that guillotine. And then little Keith Peterson, man, I don't know what he was doing. He literally grabbed his arm while he was up like this, and then he pulled it back, and then it hit it, and then he thought he tapped. It was like the weirdest thing. It wasn't even close to a tap, but it is what it is. It sucks, but if they run this back, you know who we're picking. I'll tell you that. Bleda versus Gabriella. Bleda looked very good with their wrestling. She needs a little bit of work on the feet and a little bit of cardio work, but if she can get the fight to the mat, she's very, very good. So, good win from her, and unanimous decision all the way. Carlos Hernandez versus Dennis Bondar. I had a bet on Bondar, and that was a very bad bet. He did not look good at all. Too busy showboating. Didn't have the volume. Carlos Hernandez looked very good, very much improved as well from his last fight against who did he fight last? It doesn't really matter, but he looked good, better from his last fight. And I'm going to be fading Bondar. I'm telling you that. That was not a good performance. He does have some power in his hands. He couldn't get the fight to the mat very well, and I thought he could because Hernandez's takedown defense is not great, and it looked like it was this fight. So good win from Carlos. King versus Quinones, crazy fight for however long it lasted. Quinones did rock King at first, and then he went in for the kill and ended up getting rocked. We've seen it happen multiple times, and this is what happened. I picked Quinones. Unfortunately, that's the way it happens. Good win from King. Costa versus Flick. Flick just needs to go back to that retirement that he was doing. I mean, he probably needs money. I get it. But Costa's very, very good. Very good striking. Easy win from him. Dalby versus Salikov. I had Dalby in this one. He looked, I don't want to say he lost, but first round was Muslim all day until the head kick at the very end. I was shocked because I live bet this fight after the first round, and Dalby was plus 300. And I'm like, there is no way Dalby's going to lose this fight after that. And Muslim slowed down in the second round, and it was Dalby all day in the third. So good win from Dalby, definitely unanimous decision. And yeah, he's got the pressure pace cardio package right there. So there you go. Manuel Torres versus Nicholas Mota. Good win from Torres. Torres got rocked once, but he came back and did that leading elbow, if you want to say, and just annihilated Mota. So this guy is dangerous. He's kill or be killed, and I like his style. But man, when he gets to fighting some better people, You gotta watch out. You're gonna get that fade going pretty soon here. Crazy fight here with Sabatini versus Almeida. This was one that I really wanted to change my pick, and I never changed my picks. I said it on the pre-fight show that I did unofficially change my pick, not officially, unofficially did to Almeida. So officially, my pick was Sabatini. I wasn't super confident in it. I still wasn't, but Sabatini won. He looked fantastic. That's how he would have won, and how he needed to win was the exact way he did. I just didn't think it was going to happen. And Almeida looked very, very bad. He couldn't do anything in that fight. So weird fight. I didn't see it playing out like that at all, but good win from Sabatini. That's how he wins fights, and he's a very good wrestler and grappler. Armin Petrosian versus Christian Leroy Duncan. Little disappointed in Christian there. I did pick Christian to win. I knew it was going to be a close fight. Wasn't really that close of a fight, but Armin looked very good. Good kicks, good volume, good boxing. And Duncan was just, he needs to polish up a little bit, if you want to say. I think he was going for the flashy stuff early and just couldn't do it. And Petrosian, he had the volume, pressure, and he got some takedowns, and Duncan couldn't get takedowns, which was weird because Petrosian's takedown defense is 25%. So I think it was just a bad night at the office for Duncan and a very good night from Petrosian. Armin Sarukian versus Silva. Armin looked very good, except when he got rocked in the second. And I don't want to say I'm glad that happened, but at least we know if he does get rocked in a fight, he's got the recoverability to do it, and he showed determination and will to win. Good win in the third round from ground and pound. Barely got that inside the distance bet, the fun bet that I did, untracked obviously, but he's going to be a future champion. He's 26 years old still. I know everyone's going to say, look back at this fight and be like, oh, he got rocked by Silva. The dude's 26 years old, guys. Give him 2 more years. Like, he's going to be a monster. So he's going to be a champion one day. It might not be soon. Give him 2 or 3 years. He's going to be very, very good. He's already very, very good. So, and the main event, Jared Cannonier versus Marvin Vettori. I'm mad at myself for making a shoey bet with Cody, even though I'm not the biggest Vettori fan. I never really pick him. I can't even remember the last time I picked him, and I never bet him either. And I bet him, picked him, I did a shoey bet on him, and I lost everything. So I'm mad at myself. Cannonier looked very good though, better than I thought he would. I knew this was going to be a close fight, but Cannonier put it in the second, third, fourth, and fifth gears every round and just blew by Vettori. Better volume, better cardio, better everything. Like, Vettori didn't do anything. So bad pick by me. Good win from Jared. I will be doing a shoey bet on Thursday on our live stream, so you definitely don't want to miss that. At my shoey right, or shoe right here, right next to me. So get ready for that one. Like I said, overall, pretty decent card. It was fun. For my bets, though, here they are. The only 2 losses was the Vettori and Bondar single bets, and everything else hit. Modestus was a single bet. It wasn't a parlay. Under 2.5 in the Costa fight was a single bet, but it wasn't a parlay. Fight to start round 2 for the Armin Sarukian fight. That hit easily. The no contest made this one void out, but I had the Costa to win money line 1, and then the bigger parlay of my 3-leg parlay 1. Fight to end in rounds 1 or 2 for the Torres fight. Over 1.5 in Dalby and Fernandez Bleda fight. So, like I said, 1.4 units. So we're on a 2-fight winning streak, I believe. Let me see if 2-fight winning streak card, or 2-card winning streak. Gosh. So let's jump into the fights for UFC Jacksonville here. So we got 14 of them, and a couple of the fights that kind of with the Gregory Rodrigues and Tululian fight is off, I believe. Huna withdrew, and also Victor Martinez withdrew too. So we'll go to the first one here, which I am very shocked that it is the first fight of this card, because this is going to be one of the fights that I'm actually looking forward to. Tatsuro Taira versus Clayton Rodrigues. Let's see what we got here. Taira is 13-0, 23 years old, 5'7", with a 70-inch reach, and Rodrigues is 8-2, 27 years old, 5'6", with a 67-inch reach. So Taira is very well rounded. He's got very good striking and he's very technical. He's very patient on the feet. He's got pretty deep, pretty okay. He has okay wrestling and takedowns. That's the one thing he does need to work on still. If I had to give him one thing to work on, but he's got very, very good grappling and very, very good submissions when he's on the mat. And he can take a punch. He's pretty durable. He's got good cardio as well. Rodrigues is also a very well-rounded fighter. He's a very dynamic striker. He's got good power. He does a lot of those spinning kicks, elbows, all that good stuff. He's got good cardio too. Good, pretty good grappling if the fight does get to the mat. But he does want to keep this fight on the feet for the majority of the time in his fights. His takedown defense is pretty good, but he can be taken down. So this is, like I said, very fun fight to start the night off. And I'm a big Taira fan. I'm going to be honest. And I like everything about his game, but I do think this fight is going to be close. And the line, I believe, also is a little wide. I'm sure a lot of people are on Taira as well, but Clayton's no joke. Like, he's very good, and he should have won the Vergara fight. I thought so. I had a bet on him in that fight. Maybe that's why I thought he won, but I thought he did enough to win that fight too. And then he looked very good against Shannon Ross. So these guys, like, they have tons of potential, but they're kind of fighting lower level guys. I mean, Vergara, he beat Vergara, so that's probably what the recency bias is and why the line is, because that's MMA math for you. But for my pick, though, I'll get to it. I'm going to go with Taira. I do like him a little bit more, not because I'm a fan, but his game, I like his game a little bit more. If this fight does get to the mat, I think Taira will do very well. If it's on the feet, it's going to be very close. I still think Taira is good on the feet. He's not like it's going to be a fish out of water, but Klitzen may be a little bit more dynamic and maybe have a little bit more finishing ability on the feet. But I think Taira has the finishing ability on the mat, and I think that's where his advantage is going to be. So give me Taira to win. I'm going to say by decision. I think Rodrigues is good on the mat enough to where he won't get put himself in bad positions on the mat. And like I said, if it's on the feet, it's going to be a close fight. So for the bets, though, I'm watching that line. I know it's dropping. It's at minus 340 right now. I think that's a little too high. I really want to put him in a parlay, but I'm not 100% sold. If it was like 240, I would put him in a parlay, or even 250, 260, but not at 340, unfortunately. I might look at the over prop here, see where that starts out at. I like that if it's a better price, but give me Taira to win by decision. Like I said, I'm going to watch the lines as the week goes on. Next one we got is going to be Jamal Emmers versus Jack Jenkins. Emmers is 19-6, 33 years old, 5'10 with a 74-inch reach. Jack Jenkins, 11-2, 30 years old, 5'7 with a 68-inch reach. So Emmers is a solid striker. He's pretty technical, good boxing on the feet, very good wrestling and takedowns. His takedown defense is very, very good. And he looked very good in his last fight against Escobar. And I actually had a bet on him. But, we've seen Emmers make some questionable decisions. The Giga fight was very close. He did rock Sabatini and went down into his guard and then ended up getting heel hooked and submitted, and he hurt his knee. So that's why he was out for a while. But he looked very, very good in this fight. And that's all I'll say about it. He looked very good, like better than I ever seen him before. And Jenkins, though, he's very well rounded. He's good everywhere. I wouldn't say he's amazing anywhere, but he's very good wrestler, very good grappling, good top control. He's got good striking, good leg kicks too when he's on the feet. He's got good cardio. And he's very durable. Just a solid fighter everywhere. But this is a very interesting fight, and I think the line flipped, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think it's a plus 145 for Emmers. I believe it should be minus 175. I think this may be a error right here. I think Emmers is the favorite now, though, or this was an old line or whatever. But I'm going to go with Emmers here. I like his takedown defense. I think he can keep this fight on the feet. He's going to be the bigger fighter. He's going to have a 3-inch height advantage and a 6-inch reach advantage. So I think on the feet, he's going to have an advantage. And even if this fight does get to the mat, Emmers knows what to do. Like he can even get takedowns in this fight. Jack Jenkins is the one usually going for takedowns, but his takedown defense isn't like super amazing as Emmers is too. So I'm going to go with Emmers. Like I said, I think this will be a close decision because I can see Jenkins getting a takedown early and maybe getting some control time, winning around the first or second round. But I think Emmers is going to win 2 of the 3 at least. And it's going to be close though. But give me Emmers by decision. The bets that I'm looking at, I'm going to watch the line here and see if some money comes in on Jack Jenkins since he is the underdog. I wouldn't mind the money line, putting him in a parlay maybe. The overs here, both guys are super tough and durable other than, getting that he got submitted, but that was a crazy fluke thing. I'm not going to count that against him. But most of these guys, they're very durable. And usually Jenkins's finishes have come by out cardioing his opponents and getting ground and pound finishes. So Emmers by decisions to pick here, but I think it's going to be a very close fight. Next one's going to be fun for however long it lasts. Trevor Peek versus Chepe Mariscal, which is, or Jose, if you want to say. Trevor Peek is 8-0, 28 years old, 5'9" with a 70-inch reach. And Mariscal is 13-6, 30 years old, 5'6" with a 69.5-inch reach. So we all seen Trevor Peek in his last performance, and he's just a wild and crazy guy. He throws punches at like his life is depending on it, all coming with tons of power. He pushes forward, super powerful striker. He goes for the kill every second of the fight. He's tough. He's durable. He can be taken down though if he's a little too aggressive, but he has a very good get up game and he gets up. He does not want to stay on the mat. He wants to get back on the feet and start throwing punches again. Mariscal is making his UFC debut. This is kind of a short notice fight for him. I want to say it's like a 2-week short notice, so it's nothing super short. He's got good wrestling and grappling. His striking is okay too. He's fought some solid guys on the regional scene. Let's see. I think he's fought Bryce Mitchell, if I'm not mistaken. So he's fought Sean Soriano, Steve Garcia, Joe Anderson Brito. He beat Zalal. And yeah, he lost to Bryce Mitchell. So he is fighting, and Gregor Gillespie. So he's fighting decent competition. He actually beat Pat Sabatini. So he's fought some UFC guys, but he's lost to the majority of them. But this is going to be a fun fight, like I said, for however long it lasts. I'm going to go with Trevor Peek here. I just think this guy is amazing. Like, I love his style. And I know Mariscal is not a bum or anything, but he could get some takedowns if Trevor gets a little too crazy. So it'll be interesting to see what happens here. But I do think Trevor's going to land that knockout shot. If I'm not mistaken, Mariscal has been knocked out a few times in his career, those 3 times in his career. So he can be knocked out. And Trevor Peek's one of those guys where he's going to knock out a lot of guys more times than not. So with my pick, I'm going to go with Trevor Peek to win first round knockout. That's just how he wins this fight. If this fight does get into the second round, it may be a little interesting. I'll tell you that. But for the bets, though, I think there's going to be some money coming in on Mariscal. I'm going to wait to see because he's at minus 170 range right now, not minus 120 or minus 200. But if you like Peek, just do Peek by knockout, Peek first round knockout. The unders, I love the unders in this fight. So I'm going to look at the unders for sure and maybe put that on a parlay depending on where it's at. If it's an under 1.5, if it's not an under, if it's an under 2.5, I'm going to be shocked, but I think it's going to be under 1.5. Next one we got, it's going to be Tabitha Ricci versus Jillian Robertson. Ricci is 8-1, 28 years old, 5'1" with a 62-inch reach. And Robertson is 12-7, 28 years old, 5'5" with a 63-inch reach. This is going to be a very, very interesting fight. I will say that. So Ricci is a very good grappler with very good submissions, good top control when she's on top. She's got good takedowns and her striking is very good. She's very quick on her feet, and her takedown defense is pretty good. I wouldn't say it's amazing, but it's pretty good. Robertson's a very good grappler as well. Very good submissions. Her wrestling and takedowns a little work in progress. She's shown a little bit of improvements in her last fight. Her striking is also a work in progress, but she's always tough and durable, and she's going to get this fight to the mat. That's her game plan all the time. So, like I said, very fun fight. Both fighters have very good grappling. So I think that's going to cancel each other out there. But the biggest advantage I see here is going to be on the feet on the Ricci side. I think she's just going to be the better striker. She's the quicker fighter, quicker strikes, more volume. So give me Ricci here. I think this is going to be a close fight, though. The line suggests it too. Minus 125 is basically a pick 'em. Yeah, I just think Ricci's going to give her problems on the feet, and if Ricci can stuff the early takedowns, I don't think Jillian will be able to keep shooting for takedowns with the same technique and stuff. Because Jillian's technique and takedowns isn't that great. Like I said, she showed better technique. She finally moved down in her last fight because she was fighting at Fly, so she'll be at Straw again. So she'll be the bigger fighter here. So maybe that'll help her with the takedowns. But like I said, Tabitha Ricci's very quick on her feet. I think Jillian will have a tough time trying to track her down and getting the fight to the mat. So going with Ricci by decision. I like the overs in this fight. I don't see a finish because both girls are very good grapplers, and I just don't think anyone's going to get a submission. Even if this fight gets the mat, whoever's on top or bottom, it doesn't matter. So I like the over. You can do any money lines if you're on the Jillian side. I don't blame you for plus money. So I'm looking at the overs in this fight for a parlay piece. I'm really debating if I want to do Ricci money line though, but we'll see where the fight goes or the lines go. Next one we got is going to be Mateus Rebecki versus uh Radaz Radzhabov. So Rebecki is 17-1, 30 years old, 5'7", with a 66-inch reach. And Radzhabov is 17-4-1, 32 years old, 5'11", with a 68-inch reach. So he's going to be a little bit bigger, maybe not wider, but he's going to be bigger. Rebecki, though, is a very good grappler, very good wrestler, very good takedowns. Striking is just okay. He's more of like a power striker where he does have good power in his hands and he uses his striking to set up his takedowns. He doesn't want to really keep this fight on the feet too much. He's not the most technical. His cardio is a little bit of a red flag after the first round, depending on how his pace in the first. But he's tough. He's durable. He's going to stay in there. He's not going to go out easily, even if he is gassed a little bit. So, and Radzhabov, very good wrestler himself, very good grappler. He's got good takedowns. I think his cardio is a little bit better than Rebecki's, but it's it's a little bit dicey after the second round, if you want to say. He's got good, like I said, good takedowns. His striking is just okay as well. He does have some solid power in his strikes if he lands. So again, both fighters here pretty much do the same thing. They're both wrestlers, both grapplers. They want to get this fight to the mat. But this is the line's close again for a reason. I'm going back and forth with this one. I'm gonna ever so slightly lean the Rebecki side here. I think he's gonna be able to win the early rounds this time. I don't think he's gonna go for the crazy finish like he did in his last fight against Nick Fior. That was his UFC debut. I think he's gonna be a little bit more patient, if you want to say. He can't Radzhabov's takedown defense isn't super amazing, but I mean neither is Rebecki's because they're both the ones going for takedowns usually. So I wouldn't be shocked one bit if Radzhabov wins this one. Maybe later in the fight, it's going to be a super close decision. I think. I do think this fight will go to decision. I'm just going to lean on Rebecki here. Maybe he gets a knockout here because we did see in Radzhabov's last fight, he did get clipped a couple times early. So maybe that happens with Rebecki. Maybe he could do that. So not super comfortable with the money lines, but you can look at the overs here. I think this is a sneaky over. Um, I don't think both guys are super tough, and I don't see anyone finishing anyone in this fight. So maybe the over 1.5 or fight to start round 2 for like a super safe parlay piece, or maybe even fight to start round 3. I think both of these guys have enough cardio to last 2 rounds. It's the third round that I'm a little sketchy on. I don't know if one's going to gas out more than the other and maybe get a late finish. So I'll stay away from the money lines and look at the over unders in this one. But Rebecki by decision, that's going to be my pick. I'm not super confident in this one, but that's the side I'm going to go. Next one, Randy Brown versus Wellington Turman. Randy Brown is 16-5, 32 years old, 6'3", with a 78-inch reach. And Wellington Turman, 18-8, 26 years old. It seems like he's older than that. 6 foot, 72-inch reach. So Brown has very good technical striking on the feet. He's got solid takedown defense. He does have good grappling if it does get to the mat, but he's more so a striker. He wants to keep it on the feet. He keeps his range very well with his jab and kicks. And he can be a little hittable at times if he gets a little flashy and gets a little too loose at times. He can be hit. Turman is a solid grappler. His wrestling and takedowns are just okay. He does have to work for those takedowns. His striking really isn't the greatest. He does have okay power, but he's not very technical on the feet. His game plan is to get this fight to the mat and work with grappling and wrestling. He is moving down this fight to welterweight. He's normally a middleweight, so that's something to look at the weigh-ins. So we don't know how he's going to look. That's 15 pounds. It's going to be a difference. He is normally a little smaller. He's just a little thicker when he's at middleweight. So we'll see what happens here. But I got to go with Brown. I think he's going to be the way better striker on the feet. He's going to have a 3-inch height and a 6-inch reach advantage, and I think that's going to help Brown stay at range and stuff those takedowns. And Brown's usually tough to get down, even if like his opponent's so close to getting that takedown. He's very rangy and long with his arms, so it's hard to get him like completely down and on his back. So give me Brown here. I think he does stuff the takedowns early, and then he's just going to piece him up on the feet. Again, I'm going to say by decision. I wouldn't be super shocked if Brown maybe gets a knockout later in the fight, but I think Brown's going to be able to outstrike him for most of the fight and win a clear decision win. I got Brown money line here. I like that as a good parlay piece. I think he's going to win this fight pretty convincingly. Like I said, I wouldn't really mess with the over unders here. Maybe if you want to, the over I would lean, but I like the money line here a lot. Minus 240 range, minus 250. I think that's the play. I think just Randy's experience, he's fought better competition. And Wellington, like I said, I'm just not that impressed with him, to be honest. He hasn't really showed me a lot. Next one is going to be Justin Tafa versus Austin Lane. Tafa is 6-3, 29 years old. Let me get down here. Whoop. 6 foot with a 74-inch reach, and Lane is 12-3, 35 years old, 6'6 with an 80-inch reach. So that's a 6-inch height and a 6-inch reach advantage, which is pretty crazy for this heavyweight fight. But we all know who Tafa is. He's a power striker, very strong kicks, good leg kicks as well. He definitely can take a punch, and he likes to make most of his fights a brawl. He's a very good counter puncher with power, and he can stay in the pocket until he lands a big shot. He'll go for it. Kind of like Tai Tuivasa, like same kind of style fighter there. Austin Lane, though, he's making his UFC debut. He's a solid striker. He likes to take some chances on the feet, like spinning attacks, jumping attacks, elbows, knees, stuff like that. He does have decent wrestling and grappling, but he definitely wants to keep it on the feet for the majority of the time. He's 35 years old. He's making his UFC debut. He looked decent in the contender series. Like I said, this is making his UFC debut. This is a tough debut for anybody. Interesting fight, though. Like I said, Lane's going to be the bigger guy, maybe quicker on the feet as well. Probably quicker on the feet. I'm sorry. But I'm going to go with Tafa. I think he gets this one done. I think he's stronger. He's going to be more powerful. And I think he's more durable as well. So if Austin Lane gets off 1 or 2 shots, I think Tafa can give back 1 or 2 shots stronger and get Austin out of there with one of those counter shots. Like I said, Austin Lane's been knocked out 3 times in his career, and that's all 3 of his losses. Justin Tafa's been knocked out, I think, at least once or twice, but I like his chin a little bit better here. So give me Tafa by knockout. I'll say like first or early second round knockout. I'm going to look at the unders in this fight. Tafa KO prop, fight to end by KO. I don't see this fight going to decision, but I said that last time about the Vandera fight, but Vandera is super tough for some reason. But yeah, these 2 knockouts were pretty deadly, and I think this is going to be another counter left knockout, and maybe in the first or early second round. All right, guys, we went over Zhalgas at least 3 or 4 times, it feels like, but we're going to do it one more time. Hopefully hopefully this fight takes place. Because if it doesn't, I can't do another Zhalgas breakdown because I keep going back and just literally copying and pasting my notes. So here we go. We got Zhalgas versus Joshua Van. Zhalgas is 14-8, 34 years old, 5'4" with a 66.5-inch reach. And Van is 7-1, 21 years old, 5'5". I'm not sure his reach. If I had to guess, let's just say 68. I like that number. Patty Zhalgas, I'm sorry, I should say Patty Zhalgas is a well-rounded fighter, solid striking, wrestling is solid, good grappling, likes to push forward. He's pretty tough and durable, good cardio, and the judges just don't like this guy for some reason. But he can be a little hittable. Some of these fights that he did lose, everyone's going to look at this. You know, he should have beat Charles Johnson. This was another very close fight that he probably should have won. He did lose to Manal Cape, but he's really good. And then he lost to Albazi. So he's fighting really good guys, and he should have won probably his last two. So, but Joshua Van, he's making his UFC debut on short notice. I believe it's going to be like a week or 2 week short notice because Zhalgas was supposed to fight last week. So during the fight, it'll be a 2 week short notice. There you go. But he's a solid striker. He's got good power, solid grappling. His takedown defense isn't the greatest, but he's 21 years old making his UFC debut. Got a lot of wins, a lot of knockouts and finishes, but look who they're coming against real quick. 17-9 guy, that's a pretty decent win. 7-1, 2-1, 0-2, 2-1. He lost to a 0-0 guy by submission, 2-4 and 0-0. So his competition is not great. And I think this is another fight that Zhalgas should win. He should have won his last fight if whoever, I don't even remember who it was. He didn't pull out. I liked Zhalgas here. I like Zhalgas again. I think he's just a better overall fighter, better experience. He's going to have the wrestling edge, I think. He's going to have to get those takedowns if he wants. On the feet, I think he'll be able to outpace Joshua Van and even look better on the feet too. So he needs Zhalgas to win. I'm going to say by decision. Wouldn't be shocked if it's like a third round finish maybe. But I like Zhalgas money line at -175. I think that's a solid bet. And maybe look at the overs. But I like Zhalgas. That money line and Zhalgas is the way to go for this one. Next one we're going to do is Neil Magny versus Philip Rowe. Magny is 27-10, 35 years old, 6'3" with an 80-inch reach. Rowe is 10-3, 32 years old, 6'3" with an 80.5-inch reach, which I've never seen an 80.5-inch reach. Okay. So we all know who Neil Magny is. He's a very well-rounded fighter. He's solid everywhere. He's fought really good competition. His takedown defense might be like one of his biggest weaknesses and maybe submission defense. But he should be okay in this fight. I don't think he's going to be worried too much about takedowns. He's got good cardio. His power on the feet. He's not really the biggest finisher. He's more of a decision machine, if you want to say so. But he's always solid and durable, unless someone's going to try to go submit him, because I do believe he has 5 or 6 submission losses in his career, which is what I said. He doesn't really have to worry too much about that in this fight. He's got 6. So been finished 8 out of his 10 losses. So Philip Rowe, though, he's a very good striker. He's got good power in those hands. Takedown defense is not good, not great, but he does have good grappling off his back, and he does work himself to get back up. He doesn't just stay on his back. So got good counters. He's kind of a little bit of a slow starter, if you want to say, in the first, but he does pick it up in the second and third rounds. So, and this is a tough fight to pick because Magny's going to have the wrestling edge, and I also think he's going to have the grappling. But on the feet, he's not going to be like, taking, Rowe's not going to be able to outstrike him crazy amounts or anything like that. But I like Rowe's a little like power in this and the striking on the feet. But I'm ever so slightly going to lean Magny here. I think this is Philip Rowe's biggest step up in competition, and Magny is very good. He's been losing to some very good guys. Gilbert Burns, very good. Shavkat, very good. He beat Daniel Rodrigues, which may not look that great right now, but he was good at that time. Max Griffin, which was a close fight, and he beat Jeff Neal. So he's fought really, really good competition, and he's a veteran. He's experienced. So give me Magny to win by decision. But Philip Rowe is very dangerous on the feet. And if Magny cannot get those takedowns, it's going to be a sweaty fight. The money lines here are interesting, I will say. I like the over and under is interesting too, because I can see a Philip Rowe knockout. That scares me, or maybe like a club and sub too. But I'll watch the lines here and see where Magny line goes. I do like him to win this fight. It's going to be a pretty close fight. So if it gets closer to a pick'em, I wouldn't mind throwing some on Magny. Next one is going to be Brendan Allen versus Bruno Silva. Allen is 21-5, 27 years old, 6'2" with a 75-inch reach. And Silva is 23-8, 33 years old, 6 foot with a 74-inch reach. So let's see. Allen is a very good grappler. He's got very good submissions once he gets the fight to the mat. His wrestling and takedowns are all right. Solid striking, good boxing, good leg kicks. He can be hittable at times on the feet. He doesn't really have the greatest striking defense. He doesn't really move his head too much. He can be taken down. I don't think it's going to happen in this fight, but he can be. And yeah. And then Silva's a very, very good striker with tons of power. We all know that. His grappling is pretty good, but he definitely wants to keep this fight on the feet more times than not. He can be also taken down too, but he works himself back up on his feet. We've seen it happen in a couple of his fights, and he came back and won. He looked good in his last fight against Brad Tavares, and Brad Tavares is always a tough guy to get out of there. He got the knockout. Didn't look that great against Mearshart, and he looked very good against Pereira too. So this is another fun fight. I will say this right now before I tell you my pick. I cannot pick Brendan Allen fights to save my life. So if I pick him, he's probably going to lose. And if I don't, he's probably going to win. So take that for what it's worth. But guess what? I'm going to go with the underdog here in Bruno Silva. I just think eventually Silva's going to land that knockout shot on the feet. I think Brendan Allen's going to try to go for some takedowns early, maybe get some. And I think as the fight goes on, I think Silva should be able to stuff the takedowns. Allen will probably won't have as much success as the fight goes on. I don't think with the takedowns he's going to keep it on the feet. He'll be a little bit more tired. And Bruno has power for all 3 rounds. It just takes that one shot. We've seen it happen against Brendan Allen, and when he's fighting, he's been knocked out. Chris Curtis fight, but he's on a pretty decent win streak here. I will say these last 2 fights he looked very good. So, and it wouldn't shock me if he gets a submission here either, because Bruno Silva's been submitted like 6 times too in his career. So I'm going to lean the side of Silva to get the knockout. I love the unders here. Love it. I think it's going to be a Brendan Allen submission or a Silva knockout. So look at the under and instead of picking a side, but I'm going to go with the underdog here. Just Silva by knockout. I'll say second round. Next one, David Onama versus Gabriel Santos. Onama is 29 years old, 5'11". I'm sorry, 10-2, 29 years old, 5'11" with a 74-inch reach. Santos is 10-1, 26 years old, 5'9" with a 71.5-inch reach. So Onama is a solid striker with pretty good power. He throws a lot of volume on the feet. His takedown defense isn't great. He does get up, though. He has a pretty good get-up game. Cardio is pretty good. He did slow down in his last fight against Nate the Train, but he was going for the finish in the first round, which was crazy. But he's normally durable. I don't think he's been submitted. I don't think he's been finished in his career. So he's pretty durable. Yeah, he's lost twice. By decision. And Gabriel Santos, he's a pretty good all-around fighter. He looked very good in his last fight against Lerone Murphy. And honestly, I think Santos won that fight, even though I picked him. I think I even bet Murphy too. But like I said, well-rounded fighter, good grappling, good wrestling, good takedown. His striking is pretty good. Good cardio. He's dangerous on the mat. And yeah, I was very, very, very impressed with Santos in his last fight. And if he can replicate that performance, I think he can win this fight. But Onama's always tough. He's a tough fight for anybody. He's very good on the feet. But I'm going to lean Santos here. I think what I like here the most is Santos's wrestling and grappling. And Onama, his takedown defense isn't great. And if you keep pressuring him, he'll give up the takedowns easier and easier. He'll start to slow down a bit. And I do think we kind of saw that in the Santos fight. He came in on short notice too, so he's gonna have a full camp this time. And I do think he's gonna be able to work that wrestling and grappling. So with my pick, give me Santos to win. I'm gonna say by decision. But if he cannot get that wrestling and grappling going, it's probably going to be an Onama win, I will say. But it's going to be close, though. Santos has pretty decent striking. He was doing very well against Lerone Murphy, and Murphy's a good striker, too. So, like I said, bets, though, look at the over and the Santos money line. I know it's at minus 240, but man, he looked very good in that fight, his last fight. And I think if he replicates that, like I said, he's going to win this fight, and he's going to look minus 242. So I like that in a bet or a parlay. Next one here is Cody Brundage versus Dumas. Brundage is 8-4, 29 years old, 6 foot with a 72-inch reach, and Dumas is 7-1, 27 years old, 6'2", with a 79-inch reach. So Brundage is taking this fight on short notice. He's a good wrestler and grappler. He's got decent cardio normally. His striking is just okay. He does have power in his hands, though, if he lands. But he can be a little hittable on the feet, which is a little worrisome. He doesn't have the greatest striking defense. Dumas, though, he's a very dangerous fighter. He's got good power on the feet. He's not really technical, though. He does a lot of spinning stuff, a lot of crazy stuff. He doesn't really use his range that well. He's got good submissions, though. He's not going to go for the takedown or anything, but he's got a good guillotine, good chokes. Not the greatest takedown defense we saw in his last fight. And his cardio is an issue as well. We saw in his last fight against Josh Fremd 3 months ago. So I'll be honest, I hate this fight because both guys have left bad tastes in my mouth before, either picking them, betting against them, whatever you want to say. But I got to pick one of these guys to win. I'm going to roll the dice here. I normally don't pick short notice fighters all that often, but I'm going to do it here. I think he can get the takedowns on Dumas early. He's going to have to. He can't stay on the feet in the first round. Because if he does, that's Dumas's territory. He's super dangerous. And I think he can get a knockout Dumas if he doesn't. So, but I do think Brundage is going to use his wrestling here. Maybe wear down Dumas and maybe get a submission in the early second round, kind of like what happened in the last fight. So with my pick, I'm going to go Cody to get the submission in the second round, just wearing down Dumas with his wrestling and grappling. The bets, though, I love the under because I do see a finish in this fight, whether it's 1.5 or 2.5. I love it. So I'll be looking at that more so than the money lines because it's a very close fight. Basically, a pick 'em. Sorry, guys. My nose is very itchy today. Amanda Ribas, co-main event, and Macy Barber. Ribas is 11-3, 29 years old, 5'3", with a 66-inch reach. And Barber is 12-2, 25 years old. He's 5'5", with a 65-inch reach. So this is going to be a very fun fight. And Ribas, is very well rounded, very good grappling and submissions, very technical on the feet, good boxing, good volume. Her takedown defense is really good, and she's durable. She has very good cardio. Barber, okay striker, has okay power on the feet. She's not most technical or anything like that. She's a very good wrestler. Her takedowns are pretty decent. She's very strong in the clinch. She likes to push up her opponents up against the cage, work for the takedowns that way. Cardio is pretty good, and she's also durable too. But in this fight, I got to go with Ribas. I think she's better everywhere. Maybe the wrestling is close, but grappling is going to be Ribas. Striking is definitely going to be Ribas, more technical on the feet. They're both durable. So I don't see a finish here. I'm going to go Ribas by decision. I'm just not super impressed with Barber again. In her last couple fights, Lee, that was a very close split decision. And I almost want to say Lee probably should have won that fight, but very close. She did beat Jessica I very well, but that's Jessica I. She beat Montella Del Rosa, but she lost to Maverick. I'm sorry. She did not win that fight whatsoever. It'll be on my gravestone that Barber did not beat Maverick. And Ribas has been fighting killers. Vivian, Chikagian, which she probably could have potentially won that fight too, because it was very close. Gandaroba, Rodrigues, and we won't go with Paige Van Zandt, but she's been fighting the better competition, and I think she's the better fighter here. I like her to win by decision. Looking at the overs in a parlay here when it comes out, and depending on where the line goes, I think there's going to be some Barber love as the week goes on for some reason. If this thing drop too far low, I'm going to smash that money line too. And main event here, we got Josh Emmett versus Ilia Topuria. Emmett is 18-3, 38 years old now, 5'6", with a 70-inch reach. Topuria is 13-0, 26 years old, 5'7", with a 69-inch reach. So we all know who Josh Emmett is. He's a very powerful striker, good boxing, solid wrestling as well. He hasn't really used it too much as of late. He's very durable. He's got pretty good cardio. He can be a little hittable at times on the feet. He's kind of a little bit susceptible to body shots, and his takedown defense is not great. So if anybody wants to go for some takedowns, I think you can get some takedowns on Josh Emmett. Topuria, though, where do we begin? Super well-rounded fighter. He's very dangerous anywhere this fight goes. Solid striking with power. Good boxing. He works the body with his boxing shot. He has good punches. Body punches, I'm sorry. Very good wrestler and grappler. He's got good submissions. He's just very good everywhere. The one little weakness I will say, though, he can be a little hittable at times on the feet if he gets a little too aggressive. He leaves himself open to counters. So he's going to have to be careful in this fight because Emmett has the power to knock you out. We've seen Topuria get rocked in the Jai Herbert fight, but Jai Herbert was also very, way bigger than him, too. And I think Topuria was trying to make a statement in the first round, and he realized after the first round when he got rocked, he needed to be a little bit more patient, and he ended up getting the knockout in the second round. So it's good to see a fighter. We just saw that with Arman Sarukian in his last fight. So I like to see that he's got the will to win, if you want to say. But I love Topuria in this matchup. I don't care what anyone says. Emmett has a puncher's chance, and I'm not saying Emmett's a bum, but he's always a tricky opponent. But there's levels to this game, and Topuria is just on another level right now. I think he's the better wrestler. He's the better overall striker. He's got good power too. I don't think he's going to be able to knock out Emmett per se. He might be able to rock him. And I don't think Emmett's going to be able to rock Topuria unless Topuria just gets a little wild and crazy. So this is a big fight for Topuria. I think he's going to play a little bit safe. He knows this is 5 rounds. And I'm going to go with Topuria to win. I'm going to say by decision. I do think both guys, like I said, they have good cardio and both guys are very durable. I just think Topuria is going to land the better shots. He's going to mix in some takedowns here and there in the later rounds, get some ground and pound. And maybe he does rock Emmett and get a submission. So that's another sneaky little prop I will say for the bet is Topuria by submission. I want to see where that's going to be at. But I like the Topuria money line in a parlay. I like the overs in this fight. If it's set at 2.5, 3.5, whatever, I like it. 4.5 though might be a little sketchy because I can see a finish. Like I said, either guy can get a finish, but I think it goes over. So with my pick, give me Topuria by decision. This should be a very, very, very good fight. But all right, guys, that is it. Those were my picks and predictions for UFC Jacksonville. Please hit that like button on your way out. Hit the subscribe button if you enjoyed my video and you haven't yet. Please leave a comment on your favorite fighters, on your favorite fights, on your favorite bets. If you don't like any of my picks that I do, if I'm way off, let me know in the comments. Totally cool. As always, on Thursday nights, me and Cody from Blood Money MMA Bets, we always do our live show. This week, it'll be over on his channel on Thursday night, 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern time. And also on Saturday, we normally do pre-fight live shows, but since this is an early start time, a very early start time, I'm going to look into doing a fight companion. So definitely check the notifications, and we'll let you know by Thursday if one of us is going to do one of those or not. And yeah, good luck on everyone on their bets and all that good stuff. And until next time,